Hello everybody, thank you for joining me. This is today's live stream and today I'm at Helmsley Art Centre. I need to take down my exhibition. Sadly, the exhibition is now behind closed doors and so I'm going to take it down, but before I do that I've filmed a collection of short takes so that the Art Centre can edit a nice video that we can publish for everybody of me talking through the work, and the Art Centre have photographed everything nicely. But on this live feed, which is a daily thing that I'm doing now to keep me sane, to hopefully encourage you, to inspire you in whatever way, to show you my work, to talk you through some various different textile techniques. So before the work comes down here at Helmsley, I wanted to put out a live feed and tour you around this exhibition of my work. So, and I'll talk through things. I'm going to take the work down shortly, and when I get it back to the studio there'll be opportunities to look at some of the work more closely over the coming days and weeks. But let me just swing round the image. Here we go. And I'm starting here in the foyer area. It's a little bit dark here, but we'll do some close-ups and you'll be able to see. So I'm starting in the foyer area, and this little run of work here is part of my 50 at 50 collection of work, which, if you remember, I created for my 50th year last year. And there are 50 pieces which celebrate my 50 years. They were first seen at a solo show that I had at Timeless Textiles in Newcastle in Australia last September. And they weren't framed then. They were in a different setting really, but I felt I box framed some of them to show them in this particular space. These few that I'm showing you here are a cluster that are based on images from Morocco, from Marrakesh, from a journey and a trip that we did there last year. And completely changed my perception of colour, how I use colour, how I engage with colour, and how I kind of feel about it, and how I interact with it, how I mix colour as well. It just threw everything up in the air for me, and it was fantastic. So much so that I was going back on a bigger trip this year, but sadly it's been cancelled. But I will get back there on a big trip. We'll just nip back to this one for a moment, because I don't know if you can see, this one undulates and moves and folds and distorts. And that's all to do with the way that the direction of stitch that I've put on the cloth, and I've stretched the cloth with by compounding it with extra stitch, but then I've contracted it in areas as well, again by the tension of the stitch that I've used. And so it's led to a very undulating surface. Now for me, I love that because it's allowing the fabric to breathe in the way that it really wants to. You see some sparkle in this one. I don't know if you can quite see the light. Who would have thought 18 months ago that I would have been putting sparkly metallic threads into my work? I tell you, I didn't think so. We'll just whiz round. This collection here, go through them slowly. This little group is based on my time in Italy. Now we have a house in Abruzzo in southern Italy, near Tornareccio. Tornareccio is a small village of about 2,000 people. This is one of my favourites from there. And it's famous for its mosaics. It has over 100 mosaics in an open-air museum. It's famous for its mozzarella, and for its honey, and for Montepulciano, which is a large mountain nearby with a special wall, Neolithic wall there. So it's very sad what's happening in Italy at the moment. But I know that we will be able to get back there. I know that they will get through this. And I know that we will be able to enjoy good times there again. This particular piece is the Jazz Festival in Atessa. And this is a lovely group of friends. This is Hilary, Fiona, Tona, Jane, Caroline, myself, all had a few too many drinks in the bar and the restaurant at Mediterranea. This one comes from Colle di Mezzo. Colle di Mezzo, Colle is hill, di Mezzo means halfway up that hill. And this village clings onto the hillside with multicoloured buildings cascading across the hillside. It's very, very beautiful. You can see lots of different, if I zoom in a little bit, you can see lots of different directional mark making there. Right, I'm going to take you through, here we go, I'm just going to walk you through now into the bar area. So the studio bar area of Helmsley Art Centre is where it's a little bit more open, and it's where the main gallery area is. So I'm going to walk you through this little collection too. Hope you're enjoying this. It's useful for me to kind of see the work again in a new light and talk you through it. So here we go. These pieces on this wall, show you the whole thing. If I get further back, you can see it at a distance. It's not a traditional gallery. I'm in an art centre. It's quite different, and it's useful to see work in a non-gallery setting where, ciao Janet, where you can really imagine the work in your own environment rather than in an austere gallery. Thank you, June. This piece, in fact all the pieces on this wall here, they aren't framed. The fabric is left to do its own thing. For me, it's to do with honesty to the cloth, that it's allowed to flow and manoeuvre in its own way. This piece, if you were with me yesterday, you know that I was talking about a piece of work that was inspired by some of my road drawing, and this is one of those, my car drawing. I really love the blue on this one, the blue and the pale yellow. And when you look up close, you can see the layers of stitch going in lots of different directions. From a distance, you see the large, big blocks of shape and colour. But then going closer in, you see more and more intricate detail and layers and variants of qualities. It's quite echoey under this little area here, sorry. There you go. And those undulating edges that cast lovely shadows as well, really important. And sometimes a few loose threads too. This piece is Old Road Grande. And I have a few versions of Old Road. It's a larger piece, this one, but a few versions of Old Road, because this particular composition really captivated me. At the time, it was so very different to a lot of the other work, a lot of the other structures of composition that I was working with. I needed to try and investigate why, so I kept working with it and kept working with it till till I began to understand it more, I suppose. Now, what I love particularly here, well, I love the gold. I love the way that the gold catches the light and it takes you around this corner here. Please come through, it's fine. And I also love the variation in the different shades of green, and the way they kind of blend and mix together. I'm capable of mixing different colours and making different colours by the way that I mix them together with my sewing machine. This one over here is another road trip card drawing piece, and part of the quite monochromatic collection of work that I was doing a couple of years ago, or maybe just 18 months ago actually. Now this piece, along with all the others that I've shown you, they always start straight-sided. So they're square edged to start with, but can you see how distorted this one has become? Purely because of the direction and the tension of the stitches that I work with. Thank you, Beb. Thanks for your comments. This one, now I have framed this in a different way. I've used that quite conventional tray frame, which comes from painting conventions. You know, a lot of oil paintings get framed in this kind of tray. I love the way that the gold catches the light here, and I use gold relatively sparingly, but to catch your attention. Let me look at this nice wall along here. I think this grey wall shows these two pieces off really nicely. Much better than they maybe would be seen in an austere gallery where it's a bit too pristine. I like that they look very comfortable in this space. And because these pieces, they're called Winter Landscape 1 and 2, because they're monochromatic, you can really see and focus on the quality of the mark making. The different weights of thread, the different nuances of the stitches. You can see really nicely on this one how the viscose shiny threads react as you move from one side to the other. They catch the light in different ways, and to me, they are a joy. These two, green and gold. They work really nicely together. One has come from, now maybe there was something in this. I didn't necessarily think about it until this very moment. But this one was an Australian piece, so the green and gold is maybe relevant there. And it's a cricket pavilion just outside Melbourne. But this one is a little group of us waiting to get onto a Trabocco restaurant. And it was a lovely, balmy, beautiful evening and a beautiful meal. And moments like that are worth capturing, I feel. Let me move round over here. This piece is really important. I love the directional movement in this. I love the composition in this piece. And I was doing some yoga at Singapore airport to stretch out my back after one of my long haul flights, and I was lying on the floor, looked up and saw this long, vast view into the distance down the waiting lounge, really, of Singapore airport, and it completely caught me. There are moments when things catch you, and they speak to you and you have to respond to them. And so I took a photograph and then worked up the imagery through a sketchbook and further drawings in the studio. So this was, again, part of my travels. That's about it for the little tour around the show. I'm going to take it down now. But if you would like to know more about my work, you can get in touch. On a daily basis, I am doing these live feeds. I've got one on Instagram stories, and I'll repeat it, sort of, on Facebook. Doing it twice is tricky. There's no other way around it, not that I know of. But if you know a solution where I can just film once and they go onto both platforms, tell me, please. If you're really interested in textiles and you want to stay involved with a textile community during these difficult times, interesting times, strange times, times where we're adapting, then I have created a group called Explore Textiles, where that's filling up rapidly with like-minded creative people who want to stay inspired, learn a little bit more about what I do, learn a little bit more from other people. I'll be posting extra videos in there as the days and weeks continue. I shall put a copy of this video in that group as well. But people are posting lots of lovely images of their own work and talking about their work as well, which is great. A lot of you will know that I run online workshops, and I've brought a couple of those, I've changed a couple of those so that they are unlimited access and available for you at a reduced price straight away. So you will find developing sketchbooks and you will find silkscreen printing, both as unlimited access online workshops. You'll find them on my website, dionswift.com. And then drawing for textiles and embroidery online, another 2 online workshops. They both start on the 6th of April, and I have extended them both. So better value for money. And I will be doing extra live feed tutorials in the embroidery workshop as well when we get to that. So please engage. I don't want this to be a one-way street. On a daily basis, I am going to be chatting away to you for 15-20 minutes about this time of day. It gives me structure in my day and hopefully inspires you. It keeps us in touch. This is quite a one-way street though, and for it to be a dual-way street or a multi-way street, then it would be great to hear your opinions. Let me know what you'd like me to talk about. I've got a really growing list from yesterday, and I was overwhelmed by yesterday. My social media has gone crazy, and I'm very, very, very grateful to everybody who's responded and connected with me in some way. We are physically distancing ourselves from one another at the moment, but by no stretch of the imagination should that mean that we should be socially distancing ourselves from each other. We should be socially engaging more and more and more, because we need one another more and more and more. So I'm here for you if you're here for me, and I will do my best to keep you entertained in whatever way I can. And so tell me what you want to know. I'm going to leave it there for today. Please have a look at my website, dionswift.com. If you're interested, join a workshop. If you're interested, join the Explore Textiles group. If you fancy it, join and watch tomorrow. Please share, please share the video and let other people know what I'm doing. Okay? Well, thank you to you all, and domani ci vediamo presto. Ciao.